welcome back to the Faith and Culture Show. I'm Catherine Camp, your hostess for the show. This is where we dig in deeply and meet new people in order to learn, to educate ourselves so that we can have those conversations in our culture that count, conversations with an eternal perspective. Today I have a real treat. Toni Shupee, and she can correct me if I've mispronounced her last name, but she's an amazing warrior for God. She is a mother and has stepped forward in order to take time out to really focus on the problems in our country. And she's doing something about it. And I think we can all learn something from her today. I'm going to let her introduce herself because there's so much that she's doing. I don't want to miss anything. Welcome, Toni. I'm just really grateful that you're here. I know you're wearing many hats right now, and I think you set such a good example for the rest of us. So welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started on this trek to get so busy with Patriot Academy, and then you have your own I want to call it a ministry of counting votes or, for voter fraud. So before I mess anything up, talk to us.
Well, thank you, Catherine. It was a pleasure to meet you back at Patrick Henry College, the Black Robe Regiment event. I think that we connected about a month ago and it's just an honor to be here and to share a little bit of my story and background with your viewers. I was a political rookie back in 2020. I was never active in politics before the pandemic, or what we like to call Patriot Academy, the government overreach activity over something that we feel is strongly the flu. But I went to college. I live in Pennsylvania. I was born and raised here my whole life. I graduated from Penn State with a degree in mechanical engineering, and I started a corporate career in the nuclear industry right out of school. But I was very disenchanted with the corporate 9-to-5 life. And so I made a career change about a year and a half into that and decided to go more business route. My dad was a blue collar business owner. And so I went more the route of entrepreneurship, and then got married, had kids. And when COVID happened, I was staying at home with my 3 daughters, who are now 13, 10, and 7. At the time, they were almost 2, almost 5, and 8. I was staying at home with them and running businesses outside of the house just to help my husband contribute to the family finances. And when COVID happened, it was the month the governor shut the schools down in Pennsylvania, March of 2020. And I remember the exact moment that I got this very unsettling feeling in my stomach, like something was just not right the day he shut the schools down. I had my oldest daughter in a private Christian school. My middle daughter was in preschool at the time, and my youngest was obviously still a baby. But I picked my oldest daughter up from school, and she had a backpack full of books and said, "We might not be coming back the rest of the year. The governor might be canceling school." And I was like, "Governor? Who the heck is that?" That's how wildly uneducated I was. And so the long story short, condense a bunch of stuff. I took Patriot Academy's Constitution Alive class that they were hosting nationally. Rick Green was just starting to have national classes that he was doing via Zoom with the coach program ambassador, Scarlett Lanny at the time, who is still with us and now one of my colleagues. And I was just blown away by the information in that class. And I could not believe how uneducated I was. And I thought, well, I don't think I have been living under a rock or that I'm unintelligent. So if I don't know a lot of this stuff, it's probably pretty likely that the community at large I live in doesn't know a lot of this stuff. So I signed up to host classes with a longtime friend who I am still is the co-owner of my nonprofit called Audit the Vote. We're an election integrity organization. Uncovered a ton of stuff from 2020 that went horribly awry in the state of Pennsylvania. And now we're advocating for a return to hand counting paper ballots and eliminating hackable electronic equipment in our voting system. But all of that to say, in late 2022, early 2023, Rick Green called me and said, "Toni, you've done a stellar job getting people through the Patriot Academy classes. And I'm wondering if you would work for me and be willing to go find more people like you and help develop them." And because of just where I was, timing was perfect for where I was at in my life. And I said, sure. So came on board April 1st of 2023 with Patriot Academy as their regional ambassador. And just fighting every 24 hours, doing our duty, what we can do, and leaving the rest up to God.
Yeah, that's amazing. So this is where I just think what you're doing is unbelievable, because I know way too many people who have young children, and that's their excuse for not getting involved. Then I know people who are grandparents and don't have any children in the school system, yet they won't even bother to go to the school board meetings to find out what's being said because their grandchildren aren't in school yet. And I'm thinking if everybody did that, by the time their grandchildren were old enough to get to a kindergarten class or a first grade class, these DEI programs and at these just perverting the children's minds to thinking they can change sexes, just whatever they think. They can even think that they're an animal and that's okay. They have litter boxes in the corner. That would be so cemented into the curriculum. I'm not sure these people understand what's at stake here. So I applaud you for getting busy. I think we all need to step up. So what would you like to talk about first? Patriot Academy is really a godsend. Rick Green is a great guy, and his wife is a wonderful person. I think the whole family is like a team. They all kind of work together on presenting these classes. Can we start with them? And then I would love to talk about your other ministry because this is something coming up and maybe you can encourage people to know how to do it in their own state. Anyway, where do we start? Let's start with the Patriot Academy.
Yep. I think the Green family has been in politics for over 20 years, maybe even close to 30 at this point. And I know just in my adult life journey, we never want to put people on pedestals so much that they become idols in our life. And I know I've done that previously. And so I don't want the way I speak about the Green family to come off as though they're idol worshiping, because they're flawed, sinful people just like the rest of us. But from where I sit, in my eyes, they are following the call that God has on their life to equip really a generation and a nation to rescue the republic through their curriculum and all the different areas that they're educating folks on. The Constitution class that I took is just one sector of Patriot Academy. We're right now developing taglines and I guess elevator pitches, if you will, to make it easier for people that want to host classes to explain what it is we do. And what we're starting to tell people is that to rescue the republic, we are educating the republic. That's what Patriot Academy does. And that's through their Constitution classes. It's through a handgun defense course that Rick has developed in the Fredericksburg, Texas area, where he and Kara and his 4 kids are building a campus that I believe is going to serve as the epicenter for rebuilding the republic, the epicenter of liberty, where there's a gun range that you can go and take a 2 or a 4-day self-defense course. I just took this course myself back in March, the last week of March of this past year, 2024. And I went in terrified of guns because I didn't grow up around them. I didn't really have a bad experience ever. I just wasn't used to them. And so I went in afraid, jumping on the line when we were doing the drills. The first couple of days felt like torture, but by the end of the week, I was completely comfortable. And I'm not going to say that I am a good shot by any means, and I'm certainly no speed demon, but I'm not afraid anymore. And so it's tailored to people like me. And then you have all the way up to people that they're developing what do you call them, ranges just for people to shoot rifles. So even as somebody that considers themselves an expert marksman, which there were folks like that in my class, can leave this constitutional defense course and absolutely get something out of it. There's so much in the classroom where they talk about if you have to discharge your weapon, what do you do with the 911 call? What do you say? What do you not say? And then you go back to the ranges for more drills and then back to the classroom to learn more about the Second Amendment and its origin and its constitutional and really biblical foundation of why our founding fathers gave us that in the Bill of Rights. And then there's another whole piece that's the legislative simulation that Rick's been doing. It was the flagship of Patriot Academy for decades now, where he's taking 16 to 25-year-old kids and putting them through a real life legislative experience where you get to be a lawmaker for a day. You write a bill, you have to get it argued in committee, you have to understand the process of how to get it out of committee and onto the floor, legislative floor of the House to argue it, and then how it goes the whole way through the process. I went through one of those for the second time this past August, but the first time, the August of 2023. And I had been an activist on the ground with election integrity efforts since late 2020. And so I thought I understood the legislative process better than most people. And I might have, But what I learned in that simulation, when you're actually forced to get immersed in it, it's almost like,
hey, thanks for watching the Faith and Culture Show. If you'd like to continue this particular episode, please go to the Rumble link below or click on the QR code and join me on the free speech platform over there. Look for the name of the episode and start about the 10-minute mark. I hope to see you there because it's a good one.